I have a brilliant startup idea. I have an amazing product. I want to start up my own business. But no one in my family, neither my dad, my mom, or my grandfather, no one has been into business. Or I'm pissed off because of my job, because of my boss. I want to just quit the job and I want to start a business. But what's the process? From where to start? Or I'm too young. I'm in a college, I'm in a school, and I want to start a business. But nobody to show me the path, no one to guide me. If this is something which relates to you, this is my story, and this is the topic, being a first generation entrepreneur. The story which I lived, the story which I am able to resonate with all those who have started their business, who have become an entrepreneur, but somehow they are those lonely chaps in their family. It means a first generation entrepreneur where the family never tried, never explored this game or this field of entrepreneurship. So I'm going to talk about being a first generation entrepreneur. Simply, a first generation entrepreneur is someone who is the first person from his family who starts the business. Now, the biggest challenge this person has to go through is no one in his family can understand him on a deeper level. There is something going on in his brain in terms of identifying the problem in the market, identifying the challenges in the market, and he wants to bring a great product which will bring a great change and make this world a better place. But there is no one to relate, there is no one to understand, because no one has been there and no one has done that. So something you want to do, you want to try, you want to explore, but there is no one in your circle, then that's the biggest challenge. Second challenge is not all ideas can be converted into a commercially viable and a profitable product. So whom to validate? Who will give the expert opinion? In family, a lot of entrepreneurs, first generation entrepreneurs like me, when they have any idea, they discuss either with their parents or with their spouse or with their friend circle, and somehow they get the opinion. For example, if I say, okay, I have an app which I want to, implement in the market. So there are chances that his family or his friends may say, wow, just go ahead. Now my question is, everyone on this planet has opinions, but the question is, are those opinions expert opinions? Not always. At least in this game called as entrepreneurship, at least in business world, you need the validated expert opinion. So being a startup coach, being a business mentor in a last decade, I have been giving my validation based on my story of being a first generation entrepreneur. Another challenge a lot of first generation entrepreneurs face is that they may not get the funds, they may not get the right resources. Because, as I said, there's no one who can get inspired by their thought of getting into a business. In my case, I belong from a typical government job family where everyone, right from my grandparents, my parents, my wife, my school friends who are in touch with me, my college friends, almost 99% of them, they are in jobs. Maybe government, maybe corporate, maybe startup. So whenever you discuss something with them, it is difficult for them to understand. That's not the challenge. Even the loved ones. At times, even the loved ones, they pull you down, not because they want to, but they are not able to understand. Because they are in a totally different environment, and you are in a totally different environment. So, being a first generation entrepreneur and being a mentor to all the entrepreneurs who are like me, first generation entrepreneur, one of the biggest challenge I have observed is there is no support system, there is no fund support, there is no support of resources. Now, these are some of the challenges which most of the first generation entrepreneurs face. But then, there is always a solution. As we all know, every problem has a solution. In fact, the solution itself is born out of the problem, if you carefully observe. So when I guide my mentees, when I have guided myself till this date, doing this job on a consistent basis, the first solution is acceptance. If you are a first generation entrepreneur, then you have to accept that you are the hero slash heroine of your family. If you feel lonely, then the other perspective is that you have to feel special. Something is happening with you in your brain, in your subconscious mind, in your idea level, which is not happening with everyone. So any great idea, if you are getting, anything which is coming to your mind, but there is no one in your circle, then that's your USP. That is your unique selling proposition. So you have to accept yourself as like a tiger, like an eagle in the sky. You are lonely, but you have the potential and you have the power. That's the reason maybe God, maybe universe has chosen you to be that unique personality in your family. This is the first thing. Accept. Because the question is, do you have any choice? Would you like to go back to that job world and be in that environment where you are not able to relate with them? So the first thing is accept. Second thing is, if you don't have that support system in your family, how about creating your own support system outside your inner circle? So all those people who doesn't belong to be in the first generation entrepreneur, they are available in the market. Second generation, maybe third generation. How about connecting with them? How about searching that co-founder, that mentor, that investor, that resource, that employee in that category, and then trying to rebuild another family, which are not like a blood relation, but they are able to relate with you, they are able to connect with you, because you are like-minded. So first, accept that that's your story, that's your journey, you are unique, you are the hero, and you are born to do something special. So your job is to keep going. Second thing is, try to explore and try to connect with those people who may not be the first generation entrepreneur, or they belong to those business families, because they have something in terms of the mindset, in terms of the skill sets, in terms of the resource, where you can leverage that and you can slowly, eventually get into the level, reach to that level where you start feeling more positive and not feeling challenging about being a first generation entrepreneur. Because now your circle is changed. Now you are hanging out with those people who don't have this challenge of being a first generation entrepreneur. So second thing is, try to build that environment, try to build that external circle. There are a lot of online, lot of offline events, lot of things happening where you may get connected with a lot of such people who are exactly going through what you are going through. But they were also searching for you. They were also somewhere looking for someone who is also like a first generation entrepreneur. Third, most important, keep learning, keep improvising, because something which is not in your genetics, something which may not be in your blood, something which is not available in your circle, you have to put double effort. Maybe the people who are like second generation or third generation entrepreneurs, they have something ready-made. They have something got as a gift. They have something perfectly available. But in your case, you may have to put double effort. If second generation, third generation entrepreneur are working 2 hours, then you may have to work 6 hours. If they are taking risks without having a fear of failure, you have to take risk with this pinch of having this fear of failure. So your job is to make sure that you connect with these like-minded people. Next, most important is keep learning, keep updating yourself. And last but never the least, what has happened with you, you don't want that thing to repeat in your place. So for example, if any parent may not have got enough money in their childhood, they make sure that their kids go to the greatest schools, they get all the comfort and they get all the amazing things which as a kid they may have not received. So in the same passion, if you are a first generation entrepreneur, you miss to get that support system, then start building that environment, that culture in your family so that your kid, maybe your son, maybe your daughter, when he or she start learning from you, if she gets inspired to look at you as as a first generation entrepreneur, and she get that environment where she can also take a risk, she can also validate her product, she can also raise the loans, and in the process if she can also become an entrepreneur, and one day if she is invited to deliver a talk at such forum, then she can say proudly that my father was a first generation entrepreneur, he is a self-made man, and looking at him standing in front of so many people, delivering a talk, getting a doctorate for his work, launching 4 books on entrepreneurship, and becoming a first startup coach business mentor in his community, and in a past decade, inspiring thousands of founders, then she can say that becoming a second generation entrepreneur to a man, a daughter of a man who is a first generation entrepreneur, is an amazing thing. And I also want to get into entrepreneurship and bring a small change in this world. Thank you. Thank you.